Hello? I'm going to talk since it went live and give everybody a chance to get in if anybody shows up. It is a weird time. It's 9:25 a.m. Thursday morning, March the 5th, in case anybody wonders. Uh, Yes, we're in day 5 of try to keep any trigger words out of my mouth until we get into it a little ways. Hello to whoever is watching my live stream at a weird time in the day. I was going to go live last night, but then I got tired. So, figured what the heck, I'd just go do it today. Look at you getting lucky, Chipper. Get to listen to my soothing voice while you try to stay awake behind the wheel. We're going to talk a little bit about about the people people are saying we should be giving them more time, and that we should be more understanding, and that we should be more aware of the civilian population, and blah, 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 blah. So, not gonna I feel really bad for the actual civilians. Yeah, I know it's too early for this, but man, I have searched. Ain't nobody's talking about it. So I figured, what the hey, I don't use my channel anymore anyway. I guess I could get a strike. Ain't gonna kill me. It's just driving me nuts. All you can really see is people coming out against what's going on over there, and that's not what we need to be doing. We need to be spending a lot more time praying that no more of our people die. A lot more time. What are we doing in here? I got a ding on my computer. I don't see any reason for a ding. If I'm having trouble out here, oh yeah. What is that? This thing has never done this before. So, I'm looking around trying to figure out what it's notifying me of, and I'm not seeing anything. So we're going to go closing stuff out. I had YouTube open in the background. Close that, see if that shuts it up. Probably not. my signal's fluctuating. I'm gonna have to open the door. I had it closed to keep the dogs. That looks like we may have to go in the house. I don't know. I don't know what that ding business is. Maybe the actual internet, because there's clouds and I'm on Starlink. So if my doohickey is, let me see, I'll open it up on this. See if that's what it is. What do you want? Nobody likes you. You smell funny. Smell funny and you look funny. Didn't I just tell you smell funny? You come over here and lay down right under my nose. Yeah. Can't really tell if how bad I'm lagging here. Trying to look at y'all. Look down there. There we go. I've got about a 10-second lag. So I'm going to guess it's the cloud cover, but we're going to go ahead and continue on with this. Make sure it's not something important. Okay, that may have cleared it up. It was weather alerts. I think. I'm 100% sure on that. We'll see. Hey, Savage. That's not a bad crew, I don't guess. Got one clicking in and out, in and out, in and out. I don't know who that is. Probably people hoping for somebody prettier than me. Huh. The joy of parenting. My grandson. Well, we're gonna have we're gonna have all three of the little grandbabies this weekend again. We had them last weekend, and we're gonna have them this weekend. Awesome. We'll have the Rufford and the Cobb boy, and then we'll have the two feral girls. So, but they're a different kind of feral. They're an urban feral. They're kind of let run loose inside the cave where they reside, and they fight a lot. It's kind of like, I don't know. We're gonna have our own little version of the Middle East over here. So, and they get started fighting, and the boy wants to get into it because is that the way you're supposed to do things? No, not really. But anyway, we got a free range boy, pretty much. Ladies that finally got tired of me defending my parenting or my grandparenting style. Boy was doing something I told him not to do yesterday and fell down and busted pretty good. And was just laying there looking at me like, ow, ow, ow. I said, just move the stuff out of the way and get up, man. That's not my problem. He got up, started limping. I said, yeah, limp it off. Go ahead and walk it off. He started walking over to his grandmother. I said, no, you do not go over there and get Lovins. Just go on and walk it off. And he did. And then 20 seconds later, said, my butt don't hurt anymore. Can I go back to playing? Yes, you can go back to playing. So, anyway, yeah, that's how I do things. He's been making me go for walks in the evening, which is good. He gets a lot more exercise than I do because he doesn't walk in a straight line. He walks like this. So it's okay. He's got better recall than my dog does. So there's that. It's trying to rain here. Not much. It's not raining as bad as it ran right now. It's raining all kinds of crap over there. Little pieces of plastic and aluminum and stuff. Anyways, Iran had a revolution back. Well, they've had. If you read the history on them, they ain't done nothing but revolt. Revolt. In the one in 79 was you had 3% of the population wanted this kind of reform. Another 3% of the population wanted this kind of reform. Another 3% wanted this kind of reform. And then you had a bunch of 1%ers that wanted different kinds of reform. Somehow or another, they were able to get all these little bitty factions together that were so angry with what was going on with the Shah that they come together, and it was something like 19% of the people joined in the revolution and overthrowed it. But the ones that were able to take control of the military after the revolution was over with, the actual military, the real stuff, all of a sudden they got all the political power. And this is the funny part, sort of, for them. The ones that helped overthrow the government that allowed them to exist were then systematically put in prison or executed. That's a lesson for all the rainbows and stuff out there. Just because, the enemy of your enemy is not necessarily your friend after the fighting's over with. It's Savage. That's not even touching the surface. In between 80 and 82, I believe, they had a cultural revolution. After the revolution, then they had what they called a cultural revolution. And they rounded up all the professors, the college professors, and all the of their students and stuff that were, that were educated, all the graduates. And well, they didn't round up all the graduates. They handled that slightly different. And they killed them. The first swath of deaths of academia were 2,500. They killed 2,500 people, just killed them in the street. Um, and then they arrested 30 or 40,000, something like that, put them in prison. And then the Ayatollah, what is it, Khomeini, the Ayatollah Khomeini dude, the one of that time, actually made it legal to beat anybody that was educated on the street. You know, if you were wearing eyeglasses and street clothes instead of traditional clothing, they it was okay to beat you to death in the street. They don't even know how many people died during that. From that, we have a lot of Iranians that have been in this country. You know, families that have been over in this country since the 80s, since the late 70s and 80s, because they fled the country. Their children don't all fully understand why they're here and not there, which is a little bit of a problem. Not nearly as much as the people from other countries that came over here more recently. So, anyways, where was that? Oh, yeah. Then a little bit later, somewhere towards the end of that Cultural Revolution, they decided that they weren't going to feed the political prisoners anymore, and they had all of those executed. And instituted all those rules and stuff like that. Took back everything that the Shah had given to the public. I think what the actual Islams had the problem with it was that they owned most of the stuff that the government was taking and redistributing. So anyway, then there was another redistribution and everything like that. But and we skipped right over the part where they if you read Wikipedia now, it says Iranian students stormed a consulate and captured blah blah blah. It's Wikipedia is so fluid. I was reading up on this stuff, I don't know, a month ago, 2 months ago. And I actually went back and used the same searches yesterday to try to get some of these numbers back. And it was really hard to find the numbers. As a matter of fact, there's some of them have disappeared. I have not been able to find the total number of people that were put in prison and then summarily executed 2 years later. That number's completely gone. I can't find anything about the right at 40,000 people that last year, as in like just a few months ago, were murdered by the regime. And that's known about. That's just the ones that are known about. The Iranian government is only acknowledging or saying something about, they had to quell 3,000 whatever dissidents or something like that. No, you need another zero there, buddy. And yeah. but it wasn't, unless my memory's completely faded. You get spout blind guy. Yeah, it's a pipeline guy. The it was not college kids that stormed the embassy and took over and held these people hostage. That wasn't who did it. So, and if I'm wrong on any of this, if anybody's got any different numbers or whatever, feel free to put them over here in the comments and we will visit them. But and I don't know if it's true or not. I saw some stuff that the women have already started throwing their whatever that head thing's called, heebie-jeebie, hobby-jobby, whatever it is, off and showing their faces. The videos I saw were they were inside a building, so I don't know if they're brave enough to go out on the street yet. Yeah, burqa, whatever. Which, you know, if you go back in history, way back there, the wearing of the headdress and the burqa by the women was to protect their beauty. It was to keep them out of the sun. It was to keep your young wife from growing old while she was out doing her job. And then it kept getting twisted and twisted and twisted and twisted by perverts. Before anybody throws that out there, you know, and now they use it. They rewrote it and reread it, and it's nothing like it was before. Y'all have to excuse me. I got a piece of sausage driving me nuts. There, now we're better. Hey, tradesman. Good to see you too. Head coverings and stuff like that actually have their root in the Torah. It's in the long hair. Yeah, that's not where this is going, but there's actually some debate whether or not Islam was actually created by the Roman Catholic Church to help defeat the people that had taken over Jerusalem and to help Christendom take it back, which turned into a big old long war with a created religion that resulted in everybody hating religion now. You can't trust all the historians that you hear. They don't all know what they're talking about. Some of them make up a lot of stuff. I mean, there's people out there that still push that flat earth thing. And I've been looking, I can't find a flat earth globe anywhere. You know, you'd think if it was a flat earth, it'd be really easy to put a stick on the bottom of it with a platform and you'd be able to spin it and see how everything works. But none of those guys can even agree on how it's supposed to work. I watched that lunar eclipse the other day, and they didn't look like a bar going in front of the moon. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, Iran has every bit plus more coming in. Here's the thing. Whenever they had the public elections for the way the government was going to be in 79, 99% of the people voted to put an Ayatollah, a religious leader, as the supreme authority of the government. But that was because they had been raised where in the modern, like 40 years or something like that, of the kind of Islam that was practiced in all the emerging countries at the time. Syria was Islamic, but the women could dress however they wanted to up until just a few years ago. We screwed the pooch on that one. He's mistreating his own people. He's doing this, that, and everything else. Yeah, he was fighting against Islamic radicals that are fanatics that wanted the country to go and be more like Iran than Syria. Now you've got 3 or 4 different kinds of Islam fighting amongst themselves in Syria, and it just is crazy. Islam doesn't even agree on how they're supposed to run their business. They're worse off than the Christian church is. I mean, you got Methodist, Pentecostal, Assembly's God, Church is God, Church of Christ, Baptist, Primitive Baptist, Disciples of Christ. I'm thinking there's more. Anyway, you got all those. None of them agree on anything. A great deal of people in one church or another church won't even talk to each other outside of church. It's crazy. And see, that's the deal. I said that earlier. It's all of the small factions that want to change group together and kick the Shah out of Iran. And then they all thought they were going to have say in the new government. They didn't. Yeah, they didn't. And all these people that are the rainbow crowd out there that's keep helping the Democrats get in control of these cities and states and stuff have no idea what they're doing to themselves. Them hardline old timers and stuff that they keep getting elected and everything, they could care less about your whatevers. When they take over and it becomes a socialist country, they're going to make all the crap you're doing illegal because it doesn't increase the productivity of the nation. Everybody becomes a cog in the wheel in socialism. You either work or you don't eat. It's not everybody gets a fair share. It's everybody has to do their fair share for a less than fair share. That's the way that crap works. It always has, always will. It says what's funny is that that Ilian Omar, whatever, she wouldn't be allowed to be there if this was a Muslim country. She wouldn't, yeah. Yeah, she wouldn't be allowed to do there. But I don't know. I think I said it on a live stream I did here a few months ago that I was pissed that we didn't keep going last time. I mean, it would have been a harder road to hoe if we'd have kept at it last time because we didn't have as good a start. We had a really good start this time. They basically thought they had everybody buffaloed and they had bought themselves a whole bunch of time, and then they all made the mistake of getting together in the same stinking building. Oops. And they're saying that and I am as of right now not 100% convinced that that school that we hit was a school, not a normal school, because they say it's a girls' school, but then you hear the reports from over there of the women going to pick up their sons. They were trying to pick their sons up from school at a girls' school. Which one was it, a girls' school or a boys' school? Which one was it? Making my mind. Hey, Dangerous Freedoms, there, Mr. Wayne. Yeah, I don't think it was a school, and I don't think it was. I don't know what it was, but if Iran is saying it's this many civilian casualties, you can cut that number by 75% and put all those people, just like in the Gaza Strip. Every time they were saying, "Oh, 60,000 civilian," no, just the Hamas doesn't wear uniforms, people, and anything that was going to show them as being part of it was stripped off before they pulled them out and photographed them. And most of those children that were seen laying all lifeless in their parents' arms and stuff could be found now playing happily in the street somewhere else. They weren't really dead. Some, I mean, there were some civilian casualties, but not. I doubt if there was as many civilian casualties in the Gaza thing as there was on October the 7th on the other side of the border. We're down to 4. I guess HTP left out. Everybody that's still here, say hello. So I'll know who I'm talking to. I know, Chipper, you don't have to say, hey, you're driving. You're listening while you're driving. The same may be true with well, the general I just listened to this morning said that we weren't running low on bullets. And I think they only scored so far one direct hit, and that was early on. And that was, it's a war. We're going to lose some stuff. And I know a lot of people, well, there's going to be a lot of people at Amarillo that's going to enjoy the overtime. There's going to be a lot of people just outside of Texarkana enjoy the overtime. There's a lot of the U.S. GDP depends on replacing used munitions. I know a place I could drive right to it up there at Oklahoma. Just miles and miles and miles of little pimples sticking up out of the ground. They're full of stuff that are just waiting to get taken out and used. Pretty sure that we could run for a really long time before we started to go, we're running out of munitions. Come on, one. How many torpedoes we got? And it only took one to sink that little boat. What was it? I don't even know. What was it? A frigate, a destroyer? What was it? It was only 50 miles outside of international waters of a non-participating country. It was over there actually doing play dates with India, I think. But was it 50 yards or 50 miles or 50 kilometers? It doesn't matter. Anyway, it and then it took a torpedo up the butt. That was dumb. If they wanted to keep that boat, they should have left it in India. In India, they should have left it docked. The commander of that boat should have asked for diplomatic immunity and for him and his crew to remain in India indefinitely. Trying to sail home was suicide. The end. That thing was probably cruising at top speed, which I don't know what, 35 knots, 45 knots. They're Iranian Navy. That's one thing they do, drive make them fast. So from the time it started moving to the time the sub called in and said, "Hey, they're moving. What do you want us to do?" To the time they got the deal, and then somebody said, "Well, as soon as they crossed the 50-mile marker, plug them," and that's what happened. That's let's see. Wayne said the Chinese radar and missile defense system didn't stand a chance, and they are now cut off from Gulf oil. Our their major generals were also disappeared a few weeks ago. China is in no position to do anything. Correct. Well, they've already tried to hit a couple of them, but the country actually, the country they were in actually stopped the rioters. We've got a different Secretary of State, so help's going to be incoming a lot faster this time. I was a little spooked about that whole Afghanistan Pakistani thing. Pakistan. I don't even know what they're fighting over. Hell, I thought they was friends. But there's the deal. You got Sunni, you got Shiite, you got Shriites, you got Diites, you got all these. I'm just making them names. I don't know all of them. The crow's laughing. He thought it was funny. But I can't that'll get along. There's not many. There's a couple of the sects out there that are actually pretty good. I will shoot you, mister. I'll leave the Ravens and stuff alone as long as they don't do that. They are harassing my pets. Got a really old dog out there and they don't need to mess with him. Hold on. Well, yeah, and the other thing is China keeps saying they've got this many people. And then there's been 2 or 3 guys out there that have said there's no way they've got that many people. And if they got that many people, they're all old. They like literally nobody's having kids over there. And they don't have the billions of people that they keep saying they have. And they're usually pretty good about it. They stay up in the sky and they fly over and they don't mess with nothing. But I don't know. Birds are acting weird around here. That thing I put on Facebook and Instagram or wherever it was, the story about the doves and the kestrel and all that, that really happened right over there. Scared the piss out of me. My chickens are put up, so it's not after chickens. What few chickens I have, and it wasn't a bobcat. Just for those of you following my channel, it was a exceptionally large feral cat. Something thing was huge. I've never seen a domesticated cat that big, and I've seen some big ones. There was an orange tomcat that we had a Manx, and he was a healthy cat. He was dang near as big as Jelly Bean. But there was a yellow Tom that a feral cat that ran around the area, and his head was bigger than grapefruit. He was freaking huge. Is that crow messing with you? I'd come on in here. Spring hits different in Texas. The live oaks, for those of you who don't know, don't drop their leaves in the fall. They drop them in the spring. It's very annoying. But I can see all the little tiny leaves coming out. And the more little tiny leaves there are, the more the old leaves die. They wait until winter's over, and then they draw all the goodie in from the old leaves and make new leaves. Just leaves coming down like crazy out there. But the tree is getting no less green. Started about a week and a half ago, and the new leaves were like little tiny things. Now they're probably half an inch. Some of them maybe 3/4 of an inch. But you got 2-inch long leaves falling all over the place. 2 and 3. But anyway, what we're talking about? Anyway, believe it or not, the dog that solved my problem with the cat was the little Chihuahua miniature dachshund. She spotted that cat and she bolted for it, and it jumped into a tree and waited for me to get there. So Jelly and Callum were actually right on her heels, and they kept the critter up there. But I didn't get any pictures of them because when I solved the problem, it took off into the field But those of you who know how I solved the problem, there's a very distinct sound at the end of the crack if you hit. And it has not been back. Could probably go find it. I found thanks to my grandsons wanting to walk around all the time now, I found where the coyotes are denning up, and I might try to do something about that. It's a long walk, though. Yeah, that would be bad, drying your cat, over drying your cat. Yeah, that was the same way with Booger. That was the name of a cat, my daughter's cat. Found the little thing. It was sick. And it was starving. And I brought it home. And I gave it to my daughter. I said, here, you wanted a cat. Here's your cat. She said, what am I supposed to do? I said, well, you're going to have to clean it up. You're going to have to bottle feed it. And she did. She cleaned it up, bottle feed it. Thing grew up, got huge, man. But it was black and white with mostly white face, but had black ears, and then a black line down. It just looked like it had a booger on one side, so we called it. I named it Booger. The name stuck. She asked me what the cat's name was, and I just said Booger, and that's what we called it. Booger was a good cat. He was huge too, but he would go off, and he would come back, and he'd be all cut up. And he'd lay around for 2 weeks healing up, and then he'd go off, and he'd come back all cut up. And one time he didn't come back. So anyway, Iraq, Iran, they duked it out right after the revolution. And I think what caused Hussein most of the trouble was that he didn't get the help he thought he would get when he tried that. I never fully understood. At the time, I was a young guy. I was a young kid. I was young. I mean, I was worried about boobs and butts and cars. That was it. In that order. But still, I mean, it was what you did when you watched the 10 o'clock news. And, after 10 o'clock news, you went to bed because you had a day to go. You'd watch the 5 o'clock news, or what would be 6 o'clock, I guess. And then you watch 10 o'clock. And anyways, then years later looking into it. Every time Iran does something, I dig into the history again. And it doesn't make any sense why we didn't try to stop the revolution. Letting the Ayatollah take power in Iran was a big mistake. But I think the powers that be at the time might have thought they were going to be able to control them. Surprise. Jelly. You make them a foot wet. I got on vintage shoes. She's got her nose right against the vent, just breathing into my foot. Took me several days to get all the cactus thorns out of the dogs after they chased that cat. Extrapolate, tradesman. I don't. Anyway, I guess we're not going to hear any more on that. Jordan is ACR. Would just as soon everything calm down and just let them be them. Lebanon the same. Lebanon had full intentions of staying the heck out of this, and was it Hezbollah? Hezbollah, the one that's in Lebanon? They screwed that up. When it's all said and done, I believe Lebanon will probably lose a great deal of real estate. And which is not going to help the country at all. Right, Chipper. I thought you weren't going to do all that driving like that no more. I may have to give you a call and berate you for worshiping the dollar so hard. Yeah, it's but I really am. I'm done with all the media saying, "Oh, we shouldn't be doing this." Yeah, the rules are pretty clear. We were able to do this. Doesn't matter how we got in it. We're in it, and we need to win it. We need to win it all the way this time. You'd think they'd already put a new leader in, but I don't think they get anybody willing to sit the chair. Oh. Every time they pick somebody, he's like, "Oh no, man, they will bomb my entire hometown. They will kill me and my whole family." They may not be able to find anybody high enough level, educated enough, and in whatever that wants to do it. And if I missed something in the news somewhere, if they did appoint a new supreme leader, could somebody tell me who it is? Here, I'll give you a point of view. The Muslim clerics that have been in charge of Iran since 1979 are all a bunch of murderers, and they kill their own people. They put people in prison. They kill foreign nationals, and they kill innocent civilians in other countries, and they're bad people, and we should keep bombing them. Actually, if y'all are done with all your hockey pucks, could y'all like put them on? Do y'all have a plane? Does y'all's Air Force have a plane? You like put them all in the airplane and just fly over Iran and just open the back door and push them all out. And help a little bit. My idea of a surgical strike would have been to make sure that it was a tactical. mushroom that was dropped on the command people, I wouldn't have. I would have got them all. I'd have killed everything for half a mile. Um, if the scuttlebutt I hear about the downsized little tacticals are true, anyway. We should have done something about this in the 80s. Everybody was just worried about getting reelected. But hindsight's 2020. They didn't do anything about it. So now that we're doing it, I want them to do it all the way. And I want them to write a new I want them to write a new constitution for Iran that has most of the tenets of ours. There's some over there that won't work, but to make it a first world country, they are going to have to, one, freedom of speech, the freedom of the press. That shit was a mistake. Maybe if they write it to where that they are allowed to, the freedom of the press is allowed to print the truth. Nope, and they've got to completely. You can't be called news if all you do is opinions. There's got to be some way to fix all that crap. Because if there's no facts, then it's just propaganda. And if it's interpreted facts, it's still propaganda. And of course, the Second Amendment needs to be in there. Freedom of religion, some form of freedom of the press, and the right to keep and bear arms, and let's see, what would be the other one that would just change everything over there? Yeah, everybody gets to vote. Term limits. They need to put that in the Constitution too. Term limits. I wish our Constitution stated that parties had to clearly define what they were and what they stood for. And you could have new parties like right now in the U.S. We should have the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, the Socialist Party, the Communist Party, the I don't know what you'd call the party for all the rainbow people. because they don't fall into the libertarians. Libertarians are libertarians are big time about the Constitution and small government, the government not being able to dictate what you can and can't do and stuff like that. Yeah. Do I think things will change? Things change every day. It's whether they'll change for the better or they'll change for the worse. Um, that Islam is a military religion. Their whole theology is based on the right to act militarily against anybody that is not of their religion. And until they change that, the Middle East will never be able to survive or will never be able to partake in a positive change. That makes sense? They're never going to stop killing each other. And if anybody tries to stop them from killing each other, then they're going to become the problem. Um, we made the mistake of introducing Western ideas into their part of the world, which said that you have the right to choose your own religion. You have the right to choose how you live. You have the right to choose who your friends are going to be. You have the right to choose uh, your sexual orientation. You have the right to choose uh, whether you do or don't pray. You have the right to choose, you know, we introduced the idea of true liberty to an area where the primary religion dictates that you do not have liberties, that their God dictates how you live, and that if you break those dictates, then it is the duty of those who follow the dictates to kill you. And it just, it's, uh, yeah, Islam will accept anybody to convert. You can convert, but when you convert, you better stay converted. According to them, there's only one way out. Once you're a Muslim, you're it. The only way there's only one way to stop being a Muslim. Like in Catholics, they excommunicate you and they try to make your life a living hell. Um, the Protestant churches, they kick you out of church, and then you got to go find another one. That is not the way Islam works. So, do I think uh, I think it was changing. And um, that's why the Prince of the Air, the this is what gets me in trouble with a lot of the people in my religion, is that everybody's like, God's in control of everything. And yes, God is in control of everything. But until Christ's return, Satan gets free reign down here. He is the prince of the earth. And he is going to do everything he can to keep true Christianity from spreading. Um, it's God's kind of cold. He really is. God, um, he gave us liberty. He extended liberty. He even made liberty greater with the gift of his son. But here's the catch of liberty. You have the right to live life the way you want to and enjoy your physical life on this planet to the max. If you choose to do so outside of what he's told you is the right way to do it, which you can still have a lot of fun. I mean, a lot of fun. And there's none of the drama that comes with the other stuff is involved. You can avoid a lot of drama, which makes life less happy. The people living outside of God, they always try to blame their drama on the people living inside God. No, it's not us, it's you. But anyway, You live your whole life doing what you want to do and refusing to listen to what God's telling you, and then you die and you find out God was telling you the truth, and He gave you every opportunity to spend eternity in heaven, but instead you have to spend eternity in hell, not of His choosing, but of your choosing. That is probably the coldest side of God there is. You know, why can't some guy that they call Father come in and pray over you and sprinkle water on you or whatever it works, and just absolve you of all your sins on your deathbed, and then you get to go to heaven? Why can't you do that? You know, so I was a secret serial killer, not me, but the person was a secret serial killer, and buried 100 little boys all over the world, and he gets the woo Catholic thing at the end. That sounds nice. Doesn't work that way, because you're not going to go out and kill people for no reason. You're allowed to kill somebody. If somebody's trying to kill you and yours, you're allowed to do something about it. You're not allowed to get mad at somebody and track them down and exact vengeance upon them. That's murder. That's the 10 Commandments, or one of the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not murder. Which is annoying, but it's there, so you can't do it. I like that there's a way out, though, in the law. People are like, I don't want to be under the law. Well, you're screwing up. I like the law. The law is pretty awesome. And if Bubba does you dirty, you can't go find him and put him in the dirt. But if Bubba does you dirty and you walk around the corner and Bubba is standing there and you strike him down, you shall not be held accountable. That's Wesley's not quite literal translation, but go look it up. It's there. If two men are duking it out and their wife gets involved and starts fighting dirty, she shall be beat to death. That's in there too. Ladies, stay out of it. If your husband isn't supposed to lose the fight, he won't lose the fight. Yeah, none of us make it out, and it's you can choose to go to heaven when you die or choose not to. God would prefer to see you later, but that's up to you. He's given us liberty. That's the thing. And people always abuse liberty. I really wish that some homosexuals had actually gone into Islamic bakeries and tried to get wedding cakes made, and then sued the shit out of them. but they don't. And the fact that they don't tells you which side Islam is actually on. Somebody brought it up in a live stream in the chat the other day. I was ghosting somebody. Like, who do you think the Antichrist is? The Antichrist is a spirit. The Antichrist has been here for forever. The Antichrist is Satan trying to keep anybody from doing anything Christ-like. I truly believe that the religion of the Antichrist will come up through Islam. He will probably convert. It will be some kind of big major coexist. He'll be Islamic, but he'll really push the coexist thing. And his the Antichrist figurehead, the born in the flesh one. But we've got a really, really, really long time, centuries. I think centuries before that happens. We think about it. Christianity has been waiting for revelations to be fulfilled since like 125 AD. So it's been nigh on 2,000 years. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if it was nigh for another 200, 300. I think AI is going to be part of it, though. I looked at the Bible again the other day on Genesis when he created man and stuff, and I can't find anywhere in there where it says he gave them the option to change what they were at will. So the Antichrist is going to be really big on keeping this transgender thing going. Even when all the science points towards it's a bad move, all the people that transitioned when they were young adults, preteens and young adults, are committing suicide or killing other people now. And then committing suicide. Have we lost a young man here? Yeah, he was a good kid. And he wasn't a part of the rainbow crowd. He was a really pretty guy. He had a voice. The voice was deeper than mine. He didn't talk much because he was shy. but he had hair down nearly to his belt. And anyway, so many people picked on him and stuff and kept calling him something he wasn't. That one day he just ended it. And that's on all you people going to church, because y'all didn't call you kids in. Christ's blood covered sin. As brothers and sisters in Christ, you're supposed to try and cover the sin. You're not supposed to hide it or whatever, but if you find out your brother's sinning, your sister's sinning, you're supposed to go to them and you're supposed to try to fix it and pull them away from it and then just let it be like it never happened. You're not supposed to gossip. You're not supposed to lie. You're not supposed to berate people. You're not supposed to condemn somebody for what you think. Your opinion doesn't count. Your opinion is not amount to a hill of beans when it comes to God. He doesn't really give a shit. Well, my granddad was a godly man, and he said we should beat him all to death. Well, your granddad has probably got some serious answering to do. There's a man here locally. He went to his grave calling every black man he ever seen the real word. I'm not going to say it on here because that'll give me a strike for sure. To their face, like they weren't even human. There's still people like that. I mean, I could take you to their houses. His whole opinion of them was based solely off the color of their skin. Now, you could be a good one or a bad one, but you were still one. And that's... I'd really like to get away from that. Really, really would. But anyway, I can't see the chat now because I was staring out the door. Hold on. It shouldn't be, but you just had to know this kid. CR, he was about 5'7", 5'8". He weighed about 140, maybe. And he had very fine feet. If he had have lived into his 20s or 30, he would have been one fine figure of a man. You know, he was going to be GQ model quality stuff. First time I met him, and this is on me, so I got to carry this guilt for a while now. First time I met him, he was bringing my stuff up and stuff, and I was like, "Thank you." He said, "No problem. Have a good day." And I looked at him, and I walked outside. I thought he was a girl. I literally, there's no way in hell you would convince me that was a guy. But he wore guys' clothes everywhere he went. So I thought he was a tomboy. But he wasn't. He was just a guy who had really pleasant features that wore his hair long. He just wanted to be left the hell alone. And he caught nothing but grief from both sides. He wouldn't come out and be a part of the rainbow crowd because he wasn't. And he wouldn't stop. I mean, how the hell is he supposed to stop looking like he was? I think that's why my grandson keeps his hair cut off. I mean, he will not let his hair get to his ears now. But anyway. Hey, C103. Yeah, who the hell are they going to draft? Have you been to Walmart? Have you been to the softball games? Have you gone and just drive to your local high school and watch the front door as the people exit? Who are they going to draft? Now, small towns like the ones around here, yeah, but man, you go to a big city and you're just like, wow. Yeah, it just, I don't know. I wish I'd have known the kid was having trouble. Probably would have helped him to have somebody to talk to. There you go. Anybody know anybody out there that might be having trouble? You want to go talk to them? Don't try to push religion or anything. That's not going to help them. Because they're getting hounded by people on the religious spectrum already. Just talk to them. Just be their friend. Be somebody they can talk to. I used to do that. I regret ever having stopped. Got tired of fighting with the fathers of the church, the deacons and stuff. So why can't I just be their friend and then let God work on them? Wasn't okay with them. You can only try to force something down somebody's throat so long before they just puke it up and just run away. My track record's pretty good. I don't know any of the kids that I used to let hang out at my house that aren't part of church now. Me and my wife had 3 kids, but we never had less than 6 kids at our house. Most of them we had 12 or 13. It'd been nice if somebody had helped us with a grocery bill. But we didn't ask. We just kept snacks and drinks. That's when we decided we was go buy water in 5 gallon jugs, and just keep the cooler in the front room. Plenty of cups. Got to where if we were going to go somewhere to eat, we went somewhere that had the plastic cups that you could wash and keep. One of them died at 23, though. Got a car wreck. And then another one's an alcoholic. Pretty bad. But he never did want to talk about it. He just wanted to hang out with the other kids. Brother's doing okay, though. I did lose my son to drugs, but I got him back about 3 years ago. Hopefully he makes parole next 3 months. I'll get him back full time. Can't be looking at the past, can we, Jelly Bean? Got to pay attention to it so we don't make the same mistakes twice, don't we, huh? Like next time you'll run around that cactus instead of through it. Probably not. It's just stupid. Anyway, that's about it. That's how long we've been. We're in there 4 hours and 42 minutes, and I have still got to go. Anybody want to go get hay for me? Yeah, that was the thing. I mean, we had a pretty good church at the time, but then we hired a young pastor, and that's another story. I don't even talk about it. The plain and simple, I let the darker side of me win on that one. That's all on me. Should have just stuck with it. You can only do so much when you only got 30 minutes on Sunday mornings, though. So you try to make the most of it. And then you try to get them, if you're doing it right, you get them back on Wednesdays and then Sunday nights. And I must have been doing something right because I was getting them 7 days a week. Still got them 7 days a week. They'd get done after I left, and they would come to the house afterwards. They wouldn't even ride the bus. They'd come to my house, and I wind up having to take them all. Pretty much. All right. CR, be good out there. I can be at church in 10 minutes. Going one way, 20 the other way. Or if I'm willing to take 30 minutes out of my day, I can go to a different church. I've tried pretty much all the churches at the 9 mile mark. And well, if you will just be the perfect Christian, God will make you filthy rich. I can only hear that so many times. We don't need sheet music to sing. Y'all just keep repeating what I say over the loudspeaker, which is so loud you can't do anything or you can't hear it. We're going to take up the entire service with a bunch of BS, and then the preacher's going to run for 10 minutes. What? 10 minutes? I'm not rubbing my belly. It's a dog. You can't see the dog. Hold on. See, it's a dog. It's a dog. It's a dog. She's for sale. Plug nickel in a bacon sandwich. You can have. Useless miniature boxer looking thing, you. Hers is grown now. Hers is having her first estrus. So it's time to go spend a little bit of money. I gotta find my mouse. There it is. It says my battery's dead. Yep, my battery's dead. We're going to go ahead and call this a day. Yeah, make sure you put my Cadillac CTS. It's yeah. I guess I spent too much time in Ecclesiastes to buy into that. Yeah, I'm really big on context when it comes to reading the Bible. I guess that's the downfall of mine. But anyway. Y'all be good. Hey, Carol, I did not see you come in here. I'm sorry I didn't say hi, and you have a blessed and perfect day. And how's your grandbaby doing? Carol's got a grandbaby. Simia. Simia. They named it Simia. Did I get that right? Anyway. God bless. Y'all still alive. Do not die. Get out there and show some support for our military doing what should have been done 47 years ago. God bless. Give her a kiss on top of the head for me, Carol. Love all you people.